Alrighty, what is going on, guys? Welcome to episode 5 of the Primecast. And we got a fun one for you tonight. We're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct that came in. We're going to be talking about Star Wars The Acolyte and all the drama that's been going on with that. We're going to talk about The Boys Season 4. We're going to talk about House of the Dragon Season 2. And a couple other things we'll bring up later. But before we go any further, let me go ahead and introduce my wonderful, wonderful co-host, Mr. Hoarder Gamer. Good
Hello,
evening.
everybody.
How you doing?
How are you all doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Having a good day.
Excellent, excellent. And then, of course, for our first guest for tonight, we actually have two. One of them, unfortunately, is going to be a little late, but one of them is here right now, and we're going to bring them in. None other, you know him, you love him, Mr. Jayshockblast. Howdy, Jay. How you doing?
Do they love me though?
I mean, I was trying to be nice,
Fair.
It's
It's a Sunday. It's Sunday night, right?
I think
I lose track. It's even worse now because like my wife's a teacher and she's on summer vacation.
Oh yeah,
so
like the days are now blurring.
So now none of us know what day it is. Like we're just constantly asking each other, what day is today?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way when I have to do like long work stretches. Usually I stagger my days off to where like I can actually, keep track of everything. And when they have me work like 7 days straight, I'm just like, we close at 5? Oh, I was on the wrong day for sure. But yeah, as always, let's go around the table a little bit. Jay, what you been playing, or what is something cool that has happened to you this week?
I mean, we got a new dog.
I did see that. She looks adorable.
Yeah. Evie, I can show you a picture if you'd like.
Sure.
Let's see. All right, here's one from today that my wife sent me. Let's do that one. It's kind of fun. She's getting very comfortable, and she got a little bit of snaggletooth in this one. So this is Evie. I think I'm sharing.
Yes. There we go. Oh.
Yeah. So she was a rescue. There was 84 boxers that were taken, and she's one of them. So we think she's about a year old, and she's great. Had to decompress for a few days, but she's starting to integrate well.
I saw the picture of her and Thor.
Yeah, they're starting to get along. Thor a little jealous. He's been an only doggo since Jiggs passed away, and he's not used to being the big brother.
Uh-huh.
So even though he was bigger than Jiggs, Jiggs was older, and they understood that dynamic somehow. But yeah, it's been great. She's really cool, and she's got a great personality, and she's starting to figure things out. So I'm really happy it worked out that way.
Very cool.
Awesome. And how about you, Hoarder? How are things? What you been playing, or what's something cool that happened to you?
I can't compete with a new addition to the family, but I've been enjoying Destiny 2, the final shape. Finished the campaign, kind of going through and doing some of the other things in it. Also, I was happy to hear about the 20th anniversary version of Beyond Good and Evil. Comes out Tuesday, and I've been playing the HD version that came out on Xbox. So yeah, it's an incredible game.
Now they just need to keep to their word and actually release the sequel.
So insanely enough, it has an extra mission apparently in the 20th anniversary version that ties directly into the sequel, meaning that I guess it is still alive.
They need to speak up about it then. Jesus
I know.
Christ. It's been how long since we saw the cutscene only trailer of that?
7 years, but then it's only been about 4 years since we've got Radio Silence. So it's not like completely without any hope. They had like some sort of thing they did about 4 years ago. I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember when they did that because that looked good. Like
Mhm.
when they showed whatever that announcement was.
Yeah, it looks incredible. And I honestly think it'll be a great game. If anything, I would guess that a lot of the customization of your character, including insanely different amounts of hybrid species, animal and human mixes, and different ships that you can build and everything. If anything, I expect they'll tone that down in order to get the game out. But otherwise, I think it'll be incredible.
I mean, I hope so because like this is going to sound like a jab, but it genuinely isn't because I've never played Beyond Good and Evil. I know there's a humongous fan base for it though,
The
but
reason
in
they
the
wouldn't have just canceled it is it's because of the one of the heads of Ubisoft, Michel Ancel, or I believe his name is, or Michel Ancel. Uh, it's kind of like a legacy thing, I think, and it would
Mhm.
look like a slap in the face if this person that was there for like 15, 20 years, they just canceled the game, I think.
Yeah,
So.
but it's wild to me that like in the time it has taken to relatively hear anything about Beyond Good and Evil 2, Square Enix announced, made, scrapped, and remade Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1.
Yes, yes.
So, like, they have one hell of a bar to climb over if they're actually going to release this game.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But speaking of gaming, let's go ahead and roll into the first topic tonight, and that is going to be time for some double D's. Or in my case, we're upgrading to an F because, funny enough, I actually don't have any Destiny news to talk about this time around. So
Just make up something. No.
no. Destiny's perfectly good at making up their own crap. Yeah, pretty much the only thing to really talk about Destiny is just like they added surge modifiers to the raids, and everyone hates them. So Tuesday they're going away. So that's pretty much the only news coming out of the Destiny front right now. With them doing episodes and everything instead of the 3-month seasonal model, they are now moving it to what they're calling episodes, and episodes are going to be running a 4-month model. Still drip fed week to week with a little bit of the story each week, and then you just have your reset and pinnacle stuff to do. So, yeah, there's no sense in beating the dead horse on that. So, we're just going to talk about something that made every single Fortnite player just go, huh? And that is Fortnite Reload. So, Fortnite Reload is just a gigantic blast from the nostalgic past, a scaled down version of like it's honestly this amalgamation of the chapter 1 and chapter 2 map, because there are definitely some POIs in there that I'm like, that was not on chapter 1. And then I'm like, I don't remember this being in chapter 2 either, but I came in during the ass end of chapter 2, so maybe it was there before, I don't know. But it is a 40-man squad-based mode. Like, you can go in solo if you want, but you're going to be one-on-4ing people the entire time. But the interesting mechanic about it is, number one, the loot pool from the past 4 years are back. Hit scan weapons and everything. The Stinger SMG for Chapter 3, it's back. The OG machine gun and shotgun and SMG from Chapter 1, they're back. The Hammer Assault Rifle from Chapter 3 is back. The TAC weapons, all the stuff from Chapter 2, it's all back. Like, go have a ball. And then you have a mechanic within Reload where, like, if you go down, that's honestly fine as long as one of your team members is alive. If they stay alive, your teammate reboots and joins the fight again. So if you're actually godlike at Fortnite, you can actually carry teams through this whole thing. All you got to do is just not die. And if you're not good, all you got to do is not die. Just stay out of the fight and just hang back like 3 POIs over and just let your team respawn on you, and then back into the fight they go. It's actually really, really insane. And yeah, that has been a hell of a lot of fun. I know both y'all indulge in Fortnite from time to time. Have y'all tried out Reload yet?
I've not tried it out yet. No.
Oh,
I did not have a chance. When did it actually go live?
like when did it actually go live? It was like this week, like literally this week, like right after the Metallica live event.
Because I couldn't find it. Like
Really?
I streamed yesterday and I couldn't find it.
It was definitely up yesterday because I streamed it. Okay, yes, it went live yesterday, right after the Metallica event.
Okay, so that's why I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
It was,
so it's definitely up there now.
All right. Well, I'll try it out. I tried to dabble in the Guitar Hero mode, and like I don't know if you've played that with the controller. Like I guess you
It's
can
not
play it
fun.
with a guitar, right?
You can play it with a guitar, but I think the guitar peripheral they're selling right now is like $200. And I'm just like, I ain't got the money for that.
Well, on a controller, you're using left and right, and X and B, or square. And I don't know why I don't know this. Square.
It's
circle.
very weird, like because I've tried it on controller.
And
it's
like
very weird.
I was trying to do it. I have never, like, it might be one of the like I felt my brain stop working. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Like I legitimately like felt like an idiot. Like I like could rationalize doing it. It didn't seem like it should be that hard, but like I was trying to press the buttons and like I just couldn't mentally process it. And I've never felt anything like that before. And it sucks because it was on Master of Puppets, which is like one of my first favorite metal songs. So.
It's incredible, that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, all the stuff. I used to do that all the time. I even actually like entered like Guitar Hero tournaments and stuff. And yeah, doing this for so long with that controller and then going and doing it with this.
Yeah.
And I think the first song I did was The Hills Have Eyes from The Weeknd. And I was like, okay, let's just start it on easy at first. And even on easy, I'm like, what the shit is
I started on medium.
Like,
I did go to easy and obviously did a little bit better, but yeah, man, I was never a big Guitar Hero or Rock Band fan either. I did buy it for Guitar Hero Metallica, because obviously I like Metallica, and also because one of my favorite bands that like I used to know a little bit, Machine Head was on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like I had to get it for that, especially because those guys are great. And I'm actually annoyed. I've actually never seen Metallica in concert. My brother and I are probably gonna go in like a little over a month. They're playing in Foxborough. And I think we're gonna finally just buckle down and go. But like they were on tour with Machine Head, and like I just somehow missed their Boston show, and I was like so mad because like I had connections. So I don't know. I used to go to so many concerts and I fell out of it. So like it's just weird, you know, like it feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
I've seen Metallica about 4 times. They put on an excellent show.
I believe it.
Recommend them.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I went like, you know, earlier.
Like concerts with me were always weird. Like my very, very first concert was Kiss at the ripe old age of 17.
Same.
And like at the time it was like, yeah, all right, this is cool. And then you go see Slipknot 3 times back to back and just get your ass kicked the entire show.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to sit. It's just standing room only. And it's like, I don't know if I like concerts anymore. So.
As somebody that like I used to do concert photography, and I'm actually, because in my memories I think I saw it's like the 8-year anniversary of Vinnie Paul from Pantera dying.
Yeah.
And all right, here it is. If I can present again.
Yeah, sure.
This is one of my favorite pictures I ever took. So, oh god, I can't believe how small that picture is. So there I am with there's a young Jay with Vinnie Paul.
That's awesome.
But like this was one of the coolest moments. Like I took these pictures, and he was so cool. And like they're playing this outdoor festival show, and I was just like, hey, I'm shooting for the festival. Do you mind if I come take some pictures while you're playing? He's like, hell yeah, brother, just don't get in my text way. And I was just like, man, that's cool.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty awesome.
yeah, so like I've fortunately been able to do a lot of really crazy things in music. Like before I started getting into gaming, I would go to like, I mean, there were times I'd go to like 75 to 100 shows a year, and like I would go into some shows that had no barricades. I'm trying to take photos of the show. People are moshing into me. Like Killswitch Engage, their first video they made with Howard Jones, I was there at the video shoot, which was just a live show, and like literally like getting my ass kicked trying to take pictures. I've met some crazy people and done some cool things. Like one show that always sticks out, Avenged Sevenfold and My Chemical Romance today are two of the bigger bands going in their genre, and they're massive. But I think it was 2001 or 2002. They played upstairs at the Palladium, which is like, the Palladium has a downstairs, which is the main stage, 4,000 person venue. Upstairs holds maybe 250 to 400 people tops. And like they played upstairs at the Palladium together. And then after the show, I took Avenged Sevenfold out to breakfast at a local diner. And like, it was just crazy, And I mean, I didn't know them super well or anything. My friend knew them at the time. So I was just kind of helping out, and they were tagging along, and yeah, I used to know so many people. It's wild. I mean, I still know, like, if I saw people, like, they would, like, oh, Jay, how you doing? Like, there's been I'm sorry if I'm like taking up too much time, but I don't know if you ever heard of the band All That Remains.
Yeah, heard of them. Yeah.
Their singer, he's a libertarian, but he's on Timcast a lot, which is like a big, like, I know it's not your politics, but like he's a big deal, and like he follows me on Facebook, and we tweeted each other all the time, and like I literally interviewed him sitting on the sidewalk after they opened for freaking, God, who was it? It was some like super like death metal band, and he like wore leather pants, and I was wearing a Creed shirt to fit in. Yeah. Yeah, it was like I've had some really cool opportunities. Yeah, it's
I think my coolest opportunity, well, if you even want to call it an opportunity, I guess it was just like a cool happening. Because like it's no secret, I'm a big Kiss and Slipknot fan and all that type of stuff. My first time ever seeing Slipknot, I had made like a Corey Taylor mask. Like I had the jumpsuit and all that type of stuff. And I had one of the official masks, and I made a mask out of like a Rastafarian wig and a leather face mask. I single-handedly plucked all the hair out of the leather face mask and then threaded dreads into it. And I gave that to him at the first show while they were doing the meet and greet. Flash forward like 2 years, All Hope Is Gone tour. I'm outside the Hampton Coliseum. I still smoked at the time, so I was outside smoking a cigarette, and I just feel somebody just thunderclap my shoulder. And I'm like, what the? Like, turning around, getting ready to swing at somebody, and Corey Taylor's standing there. He was like, you look familiar. And I'm like, I do. Like, just dumbstruck at that point. He was like, didn't you give me some shitty looking mask over at the Norva like a few years ago? And I'm like, that was me, yes.
Let me tell you my first time I met Corey Taylor story. I was hanging out in their dressing room. It was Stone Sour. They were on tour with Stone Sour, which was him and Jim Root. And I had done an interview with Jim Root, and this happened kind of last second. And I called my brother's phone. My brother is like 15 or 16 at the time, and he's not answering. So Jim like takes the phone and is like, hey, this is Jim Root from Slipknot. I heard you were a fan and you're not even answering my call and you're not even at the show. So I want you to turn in your CDs. You shouldn't have them. So like my Sadat, my brother gets a voicemail from the guitarist of his favorite band. But meanwhile, Corey, we're all hanging out and Corey's there. I meet him. He's nice and everything. And they bring in this magician and like he's doing like magic tricks for Corey Taylor, and Corey Taylor is like absolutely high, and he's just like losing his mind over some of these magic tricks. I apologize, sir. I will seek permission next time. I apologize profusely. Yes, massa. But anyway, that's one of my Corey Taylor stories. He's I don't know him or anything, but like he's a good dude.
Yeah.
I once at the Palladium, we went down to the show really early because my brother, massive Slipknot fan. We see this like circle of people. We see this like circle of people as we're driving by, and we go over to see what's going on, and there's literally a crowd of like 30 people in a perfect circle around Corey standing in the middle. And this is at like 2:00 in the afternoon before a 7:00 show, and he's just kind of standing there, and people are taking turns going in the middle and like getting a picture with him, and he's signing stuff. And it was like he sat there for at least 45 minutes to an hour just talking to people. And like you learn, like when you meet as many people as I've met, like you learn to appreciate stuff like that. Like you could tell, like this is right after Slipknot had been doing like stadium tours, arena tours, and they wanted to do something at like the mid-level show. So they were like, they had no business playing the Palladium. That thing sold out immediately. That was also one of the coolest shows I ever got to shoot. Because I remember that was the Roadrunner Road Rage tour. It was Slipknot, Machine Head, Chimera, and El Nino.
I loved El Nino.
Yeah, I like, again, a million crazy stories. Happened to go to a show the day after Ozfest at a place called Bill's Bar, which was right across the street from Fenway Park, and that's where I met Mark from Chimera,
Nice.
who I still kind of know a little bit to this day. Good friends with Johnny Rocker, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like they legit are like buds, you know.
Nice.
Like I don't know if you remember when Johnny did that like eating challenge at some restaurant.
Yes.
Mark actually went and was there, like with him. So that was like pretty cool. But anyway, I met Mark from Chimera there, and I met all of El Nino, because that was like the show. We got like something like, if you show your Ozfest stub, the show is free. So we're like, oh, hell yeah! It was El Nino, Chimera, 40 Below Summer, and somebody else. Oh, Project 86. I just remember shows, you know. So yeah, it was a cool show. So
All right.
So real quick, They Might Be Giants. Saw them at the Eagles Ballroom, a real like popular and like historic place in Wisconsin. And basically, John Linnell. The band is really two members: John Linnell, John Flansburgh. John Linnell came out and he was like, "Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the show and everything," and just chilled with fans in the parking lot. And he's like, "I'll be back in just a moment, and like I'll come back and with the other John. Right now, he was hungry. He was having some pizza." So we're like, okay, cool. So we're waiting about 5, maybe 10 minutes or so, and we're like, oh, okay, he was probably just being nice and had to, peace out. Comes back with John Flansburgh, so it's both of the Johns, and brings pizza to everyone there.
Nice.
Super nice guys. Yeah,
sick.
and that's a band I've loved since I was like pretty much a kid.
But all right, Hoarder.
Sorry, I got you guys.
No,
not at all.
You're absolutely good. But yeah, what's going on in the Diablo front?
Oh, wow. So first up, we'll start in the future and then go backward. So one of the biggest, most interesting things they announced is that season 6 of Diablo is actually going to be launching on October 8th, the same day as the Vessel of Hatred expansion. So no one really knew if that was going to be the exact same day, if they were going to have like another season starting earlier or later during the expansion, right when the expansion hits. So that's some pretty interesting information there. And what they talked about on Friday instead of Wednesday, when they usually do their videos type thing called the Campfire Chat, they were like, okay, this is going to be what season 5 is. And they talked about the PTR, which is a public test server. And that's going to be available, everybody, if you have a BattleNet account and play on PC. It's available this upcoming Tuesday, June 25th through July 2nd. And they talked about some endgame activities and some really exciting elements if you're a Diablo fan.
Mhm.
So basically in Diablo 2, there are these Zakarum is a religious faith. It was created by the evils, okay, secretly. So it's like an evil religion, but even the priests didn't know. So they get corrupted by Mephisto, who is the Lord of Hatred, and the Vessel of Hatred is the expansion that's coming out in October. So you're going to have to fight the Fel Council, which are these corrupted Zakarum priests. And basically, you get these amazing compasses that get you through these wave-based fights with demons until you face off against the Fel Council. And it's heavily repeatable. It sounds truly awesome. And that's kind of what they really focused on. Also saying that there were 2 story elements there. There's going to be this quest and then a quest before that are going to make up season 5. And apparently High Ruler says that he is Mephisto. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Trust me, we already knew.
I had my suspicions.
Too easy. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Ha! But yeah, that's like the gist of it. And then talking about, they had some, like quality of life things and stuff. But it was really the idea of this almost like miniature mode in Endgame where you get to like replay. Oh, and every time you fight, it's 3 members of the Fel Council. There's a total of 5. They all have elemental abilities and things like that. So the idea was to give you 30 different possibilities of encounter at the end to make it heavily replayable.
Woof, that's a lot. Yeah. Destiny, you're lucky if you get 3 rotating bosses.
I never beat that game. I regret buying it, if I'm being honest.
What, Diablo?
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. Come on.
It's fine. Like, here's my thing with Diablo. Okay, I don't regret buying it because I think it's a bad game. I just feel like I'm glad people enjoy it and everything. It's just weird for me to see that there's like a group of people that like will talk about a certain game. We'll say Suicide Squad, all right? Oh, it's so repetitive. Sure. You're just doing the same thing over and over again. And I feel that's what Diablo makes me feel. Like the story is good and everything. Don't get me wrong. I like that. And I just feel like it's so samey. And if you're into that samey, that's great. Like yeah. I appreciate that for people. But I just wasn't feeling it as much. But I just feel like more people should be able to just say that instead of saying, oh, it's just the same thing over and over. Well, yeah, a lot of games are
like
the
Destiny,
same thing.
You're running around shooting things and picking up stuff. God of War, you're running around hitting things and picking up
Helldivers.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. No, Helldivers
you're
was
punching
on the
people
forehead,
in the face
God.
over and over. So I mean,
yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. It's like, I understand and appreciate, and I'm glad that like the fans enjoy it. I liked Diablo 3. That was my entry point for Diablo. And I don't mind Diablo 4, but like I was at a point where I could only get one game when that came out, and I chose it over Street Fighter 6, and I regret that decision. I feel like if I jumped into Street Fighter 6 at the ground level, I would still probably be playing it now. I did eventually get Street Fighter 6, but I was kind of broke at that point in time, and it was like one or the other. And I just,
That's
I
fair.
got to a point in Diablo, I don't even remember. I was in like the lower mid section of the map doing
Sure,
quests.
possibly maybe Hawazar.
I mean, I
Okay.
feel like Maximilian said it best when he made some comment of like, because he gets a lot of flack of like, why don't you champion this game? Why don't you champion that game? Like, I wish I had all the time in the world to play all the games I already play, which the four pillars of J-Kun right now are Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Fortnite, and Destiny. Division, unfortunately, took a back seat. Halo took a back seat. A bunch of other games took a back seat. Helldivers. A bunch of things, just simply because of time. Like Diablo, like I'm not invested in that world, but I've always dug dungeon crawlers. Like I wish I had more time to invest into it. Like, and I already know like Porter and Doom are going to be coming for my head July 2nd with First Descendant, and I'm just
Indeed,
kinda
and
like,
I can talk
man,
about that a little
like
bit
I wish
too.
I had more time, but I don't. Like,
I feel that. Like
Yeah.
I look at everything at this point in my gaming life as content. Like,
yeah,
can I make content for this? If the answer is no, I move on. You know, it's sad.
sometimes it's
Sad,
just
I
that
don't
simple.
I don't play a lot of offline games. Like, if I'm not streaming or making content, I'm probably not playing.
Yeah,
So
because sometimes you
I
just need
would
that
I would
disconnect.
I would recommend giving it another shot though. So every season that's come out, and now they're on season 4, they've added more to the end game and a lot more things to do. So they're keeping people excited by like bringing a lot of cool, fresh things every season. And season 4 is considered by most players as like the best because of all the wild quality of life changes they made to the game. And if you're talking about content, Vessel of Hatred is going to be a huge thing to cover in October. So I would definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah, but that's the time of year where like everything starts coming out. So
Yeah.
and I mean, I saw some cool stuff out in LA. So we're gonna have a good year.
Yeah. And speaking of cool stuff coming, next topic, Nintendo Direct. Marvel versus Capcom officially returns. I don't know if any of y'all understand how big of a deal this is. Like, yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff during Nintendo Direct, but that one is huge. So I'm gonna paint a little story for y'all. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, one of the most widely beloved fighting games of all time. People still talk about it to this day. People still play it to this day, thanks to wonderful things like Fightcade, online emulation, and all that type of stuff. This game got a Dreamcast release. It got a PlayStation 2 release. Then it got an Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 release. There are actually some physical copies out there. Technically, it's a case with a code in it. And if you tried to go buy that now, it would cost you a few $100s.
Oh wow.
Wow.
This game was dead and buried because this was made at a point in time where the relationship between Capcom and Marvel was drastically different. Like once upon a time, Marvel was going bankrupt. So like you could buy IPs for dirt cheap. Like I think
Yes.
what Sony bought the Spider-Man licensing for what 15 grand, something like that. It was something small.
And there was like that Fantastic Four film by I think Roger Corman or whatever.
Yeah. Like you could get the licensing for dirt cheap, and then Disney swooped in, and that relationship changed hugely. So the fact that not only is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 coming back, but we are getting a collection with all of the versus games. It's X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. For the cherry on top, we're going to go ahead and throw in the Punisher beat 'em up game along with it.
Aren't those all the games that are on like the arcade one up? Things?
Some of them are. Yeah, I don't know if they
Yes.
did. Did they do a Marvel 2 one yet?
I think
I
so.
know they did Marvel vs. Capcom 1, but
I'm
I don't know if they did Marvel
pretty
2.
sure. They did do a new cabinet recently with like X-Men 97, and I don't know if the games are the same and it's just like a repeat or whatever, but
I'd have to look at it, yeah, because like a lot of people, I saw a lot of people clamoring like, "Well, why isn't the X-Men beat 'em up in there?" And it's like, because that's not made by Capcom.
I know that's Konami, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Konami.
Oh, I was wondering
Yeah.
about that too. That makes sense.
But I am going to highly encourage everyone, whether you play it or not, buy this Marvel collection when it drops. It's coming out this year.
Physically,
Buy
if
it.
you can.
buy it physically if you can, because the sales of this is going to determine whether or not Marvel vs. Capcom 4 happens.
Nice.
If you want Marvel to stay alive, now is the time to speak with your wallet.
I saw Unruly tweet about it, like saying that he's gonna buy it like on each platform physically.
With Kenny, I believe it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh dude, get it graded. Like go the whole extra. I actually got to see them out in LA. It's always good to see them. Kenny is a really good dude.
I have been friends with them for almost a decade now. Like I think I met them in 2010.
I don't know Max like well or anything. But like he sees me, he knows who I am, and we talk. So that's always cool. And I got to watch them play Phantom Blade Zero. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. It like honestly, I don't know. I don't want to go out of order. But as far as this is concerned, I'm definitely gonna get the physical edition.
Absolutely.
Just for the collection. I'm not like a big I did make videos for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and I think I have a video for Marvel vs. Capcom 3 that did really well. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, obviously anything Marvel, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. But yeah, Hoarder, you talk about the rest of the direct, because I'm not even gonna front. I was watching it at work, and when the Marvel thing happened, I got blinded from everything else.
So for me, the Metroid thing was mind-blowing because it's been like 6 or 7 years. At first, we knew that there was going to be a new Metroid Prime game, and I'm like, awesome. And then I want to say it was 2 or 3 years later, head of Nintendo apologizes, and he's like, well, that direction didn't go quite well. We're going to have Retro come back in order to make the next Metroid, but we're starting over. And then that was radio silence for like another 4 or 5 years. So now finally we actually get to see the game is real. It looks very good. I heard people comparing it to like more recent Halo entries, like graphically. From what I saw of it, there were 2 games at the Direct. I'll get into the next one in a moment. This game looked like it's meant to be on a successor to the Switch. Like, it looks really, really good, but man, does it look like it is pushing that console to the freaking limit. Like,
I am definitely afraid that game is going to come out in 30 frames.
The amount of space pirates on the screen at one time, the fact that you're moving through like you're in the Maru sphere and you're moving through like overhead vents and stuff, and there's all this activity underneath you. Like, it's really cool looking. I was very impressed, and the hunters are back. That weird like 3DS or DS game, Nintendo, was it Metroid Hunters? Yeah, they're
Metroid
apparently
Prime
really
Hunters,
important in this. And they might have befriended Metroids, or Metroids might be controlling them. I'm not sure yet. So that's going to be interesting to find out.
I don't know lore-wise if Metroids even have that ability. I'm thinking about.
I don't know.
You definitely jogged my memory, because for God's sakes, I made a reaction video.
But it was so super weird seeing 2 Metroids accompanying them. Like, it's like, okay, that's really, really bizarre. But yeah, it looks super cool. And then there's Mario and Luigi Brothership. And no, it's not about, trying to get both Mario and Luigi, laid or something. It's basically just like the friendship they have, and there's lots of boats. Oh, shipping. That's when you get 2 people together. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it's either that or they're finally getting the Mario and Luigi game where they finally get a job at Amazon. One of the two.
But there's ships and islands and stuff like that, so that's why I think they went with the term brothership. But yes, graphically, the animations and everything, the size of the characters looks really good. Like, it again looks like it's pushing the Switch to its limit, and this is possibly as good as it's going to get. And then there's, I believe, is it Echoes of Memories? I probably have the title wrong. New Legend of Zelda, where we play as Zelda. So that's going to be wild. It's a mainline 2D Legend of Zelda game. And what's wild is, too, I believe that comes out in September. Nintendo's really good.
I remember seeing a little bit of that, because I immediately messaged the missus and just jokingly said, there's another Zelda game coming out that you won't beat. So... And she plays them for like a week and then just never touches it again.
And what I love about Nintendo is like, Metroid notwithstanding, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and those games notwithstanding, sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, this game's coming out, and it'll be out in 2 or 3 months," and it's kind of mind blowing. Like they did that with one of the Luigi's Mansion games that came out for the Switch. Like they'll announce it and it'd be like, "Yep, it's available and it's coming out in September. Or it's coming out in October or something." And that's always fun with Nintendo. But yeah, to me, those were the big things that I was excited about.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4, like I even said in my video, like this was a project I had completely written off, that like it's not happening. Like the moment we got Metroid Dread, I was like, yep, Metroid Prime 4 is done. Like we're not ever getting this game. And seeing that was like the back of my head just blew out. I was like, wow,
yeah,
this is actually real.
And it was there one more thing. It's like we have one last thing today, and it was that. It was like,
but that is the biggest thing I'm afraid of, because like me, I'm a whore for frame rate. Like high frame rate will always make everything look better because it's moving smoother. And with how gorgeous that footage looked, like you can see the individual beads of water like pinging off her arm.
Yes.
I'm just sitting there going like, this thing's going to run at 30 frames a second, and I'm going to hate every minute of it. So, like,
keep in mind though, the art direction and graphics in the original Metroid Prime were gorgeous like that too. Like the reflection from the helmet, where you could sometimes see Samus's face and stuff. It really neat stuff.
Imagine if Nintendo like took the Xbox approach and like third-partied out some of their games. Like, could you imagine like how good some of these games would look on a Series X or a PS5?
Not to out myself, but I've emulated quite a few things. Now, the rule of emulation is if you own it, you can emulate it. So I did Metroid Dread in a absolutely stunning 120 frames a second.
Oh, wow.
And some of these games could reach the next level.
Yeah, and it's wild to me. Like, so when I play my Nintendo Switch, I play it in console mode through OBS and everything like that. Like if I'm playing Pokemon, right? Mm-hmm. Like the game looks washed out, but I also understand that I'm playing a 1080 game in like at least 1440, but sometimes on a 4K monitor.
Yeah,
so it's stretched to hell. But then you look on that little tiny screen, you're like, okay, I guess it looks better. So it's like it messes with my head, you know? Like I understand, like obviously viewing it on like a little 8-inch screen or something like that is a lot different than, you know, a 4K monitor, right? So like I don't know. It drives me crazy though, because like a lot of these games should look so much better. And I
agree.
I know that's not everything, but the what ifs, you know?
I mean, there are some Switch games that absolutely deserve that glow up. And like in Nintendo's defense, a lot of these games, if you play them in docked mode, they're not hitting 2K and 4K visuals, but they are usually maintaining a steady 55 to 60 frames a second. Like Mario RPG, 60 frames. Metroid Dread, I believe, ran at 60 in docked mode. A lot of these games can do it. It's just all these games have reached the point that they're being held back by the technology it's being put on.
And, you know, they're going to put out their new Switch at some point, probably next year.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's already going to be behind the Xbox and the PlayStation. You know?
But here's the thing, though. So they care more about art direction. And that's how it's been since the Wii. And it's been successful for them.
And
people are buying the games and they're looking forward to it.
And that's just a Japanese cultural thing. Like they're gonna do their own thing. When I worked for Bose, one of my favorite stories I heard, like I worked with training. Like I had like a training class that I was part of that for like new hires, and we helped train them and everything. And so I knew the training staff pretty well. And one of the guys, like as part of his job, did travel a lot to other facilities. And back in like the 90s, because he was with the company a long time, he went to Japan and like they were making, the famous wave system that we have. You would always see like it would be in like every newspaper ad, all the commercials.
Yeah.
Like in Japan, they were making them with like micro disc or whatever the Sony mini disc. Okay, like and we would send somebody over there and they would say, hey, don't do this. This is the standard for the system. It has to be a CD. And they'd leave. Oh, okay. They leave, and they'd still keep making them on like double mini discs, and like because like they're like, well, we're gonna do whatever we want, because this is what sells in Japan. Like we do mini disc or micro disc here, whatever it was. But I always loved that story. But it's kind of a testament to Japanese culture, like in general, and Nintendo is very much a Japanese company,
Yes.
and they're just gonna do their thing. Like this is what we do, and we're gonna do it. And
They're also one of the only companies that are profitable with every console they sell, though. So just like the Xbox and PlayStation, they take a $50-$100 loss on most of their consoles when they launch, at least. And like Nintendo is always making a profit because the technology is a bit behind the others. But again, they got those IPs that people want, and it's creativity and art direction. Those are the two main things they care about.
And it's wild. It's really wild that like it works for them, but
it also makes them one of the most stubborn companies to work
exactly,
with.
Exactly.
I agree there. Yeah.
Them for the whole Fortnite thing.
Yeah,
like, we could have had a Nintendo collab in Fortnite for like years ago, but Nintendo was like, "Yeah, you can use our characters if they're only on the Switch," and Epic was like, "That's Fortnite's cross-platform. That's not how it works." Like,
yeah.
Oh, well, then you can't use them. And it's like, all right, thanks, Nintendo. Like,
remember the Amiibo debacle when they first came out? Stores were getting like 1 box, 2 boxes, maybe, of those things, and then they would just sell out, and then they had to like reprint them, basically remake them. That was an insane situation, man.
I keep this Amiibo
right now, collecting dust.
I keep Incineroar Amiibo on my desk. He's holding like a screw that goes to something, so I don't lose it. But little known fact, Slipshock loves Incineroar, just his absolute favorite Pokemon, and I keep this on my desk as a tribute to Slipshock.
Oh wow.
So tweet him pictures of Incineroar because he loves it.
But all right,
I kind of questioned that, but okay.
I take offense. You doubt me.
That smile,
it's time
though.
to hit
I don't
the
know.
TV section of this podcast. So first up on the chopping block, you may be loving it, you may be hating it, but you can't deny that there is a lot of controversy surrounding this one right now, and that is Star Wars: The Acolyte.
Yes.
So I don't know about the rest of y'all. I'm not heavily invested. Like, I don't hate it, but at the same time, I don't love it either. Like, what's everybody's thoughts on this so far? I feel like they took a lot of just Old Republic stuff and just threw it in the trash and went, we're going to do something else.
Who do you want to start with?
Whoever wants it.
Let's begin.
Let's fight over it.
Okay. In what way?
I'll say this.
Baby oils in the corner.
Perfect assessment. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I think actually one of the very rare decent tweets by High Ruler. I think he basically assessed it fairly well, with words I don't remember, but I remember it was an okay tweet. That's good enough. I remember agreeing with it. Basically, it's a show in the Star Wars universe that I watch. I don't love it. I think there's gonna be whips at some point, like lightsaber whips. That's when I'm gonna like get on board with all the weirdos and say, yeah, F this. What scares me though is the lady that's in charge wants to do something in the Old Republic, and wanted to feature Kreia, which, okay, Kreia's cool and everything, but she's from the second game and not even 100% the main character. If you do something Old Republic, you start with Revan and Malik and center everything around them, and I don't want her anywhere near this.
Or what was it? Depending on how far back into the Old Republic you go, like you could also like, I don't know how far back was what I think his name was Darth Bane or something like that.
Darth Bane, one of my top 5 favorite Star Wars characters.
Yeah,
I don't consider him Old Republic.
really?
No, he's like well before. He started the Rule of 2.
Okay.
So I actually he might be after Old Republic. He might be after, because he's the one that started the Rule of 2.
Mhm.
Like 1 to embody and 1 to crave it.
Mhm.
So I can't remember if he must have been after the Old Republic. I don't really consider him Old Republic era.
Gotcha.
But he's who basically turned it into the Rule of 2, which is what was followed until all these weirdo Disney people started getting involved and having like a billion other Sith, apparently.
Yeah, this is what happens when a company buys a franchise and then takes 30 plus years of extended universe and just throws it in the garbage.
Yeah, and that's like I like the new trilogy. I don't like The Last Jedi sucks. But like,
You paying attention, Suki?
it's a well-made movie. It's a terrible story. Okay.
Yes.
And I think that like a lot of those, Bane was at, that's what I thought. Bane must have been after. I don't consider him Old Republic. And yeah, anyway, to me, the Old Republic is the Revan era, like that era of Star Wars, the Mandalorian Wars, and all that. Keeping in mind, Darth Revan is my favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Is in my like top 5 favorite characters in any media.
That'd be the High Republic then, right? Before the
High Republic is before like the Skywalker saga.
Well, that's like
Yeah,
a
'cause I
thousand
feel like
years
you and I
ago, isn't
talked
it?
about that before. It's like Old Republic, High Republic, and then Clone War Republic.
Something like
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So in any event, this show is a show. So yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, like the show is definitely a show. Like, I don't hate the cast. If anything, like I've given, because like one of the big things I'm hearing about, like even somebody put it in the chat, like the show has toddler levels of writing. I've heard that the acting is horrible. And like I'm kind of sitting there trying to give them a lot of slack because number one, not every Jedi is going to be like Obi-Wan Kenobi, where they're just gushing with personality. Most of the Jedi, I mean, hell, take a look at Mace Windu. Like, we love Samuel Jackson, but you can't deny that his personality was that of a tree stump in the prequel trilogy because they're supposed to be like that. Like, they are monks. Most monks have the personality of a tree stump. So why are we so shocked that there is a whole flock of Jedi that act the exact same way? And then I saw Lee Jun Jae was catching a lot of hell for his performance in the show so far, and I'm just kind of sitting
Is
there
he
going,
Saul?
like,
Who does he play?
he plays Master Saul.
I think Master Saul is doing a great job with his
Yeah,
performance.
and like I'm
really
cutting
like
him a lot of slack, and a lot of people are giving him shit, and I'm just sitting there going, like, y'all do understand English is not his primary language, right?
Well,
like,
beyond
Yeah, I
that,
don't really have an issue with
some of
him.
the delivery may get lost.
There's depth in his performance. There's a warmth in his performance. I think
Mhm.
he's doing a very good job, actually.
Yeah, and like I thought that dude has been the tits ever since I watched Squid Game, and then like it turns out, dude, he's been acting for decades, and I'm like, oh shit, let me check out some of his other stuff. Like, he's a good actor.
Sadat and I talked about this recently in like Marvel terms, and I think it extends to Star Wars as well. Like, I guess the Disney franchises.
Pantheon.
Yeah, like the problem is that they keep bringing in these people that don't know the product, okay?
Yeah.
But they're like good filmmakers and they're good story writers, and they think that they can just plug them in and that they can just make a good story because it's Star Wars. And these people keep showing that they don't understand what makes Star Wars and Marvel great. They shun the source material. They don't do their research. They just go with what they kind of know. And it's just not working.
No.
Like, some of it's okay, but like, we don't need like Star Trek, they don't reinvent the wheel, you know? There's like a million different Star Treks, and they're all basically the same thing. All right. And with Star Wars, I feel like the people they keep bringing in, and to a little bit of an extent, Marvel, they keep trying to like make it their own. It's like, all right, this is my story. This is my chance to like leave my mark on Star Wars. And I'm not saying that all the purist fans handle it well, but like a lot of them do have somewhat of a point with some of the things that's missed. I don't like listen like working like I noticed something about I don't remember her name, but the girl, the good one of the twins,
Osha.
yeah, she said something like he or they or something, and it's like little things like that that like trigger people. Like, listen, like, what, who cares? There can be gay people in Star Wars, right? Like, it's not an agenda, it's just like this is what we do now, you know what I mean? Like there's no reason it you're fitting it in naturally. Like, who cares? It shouldn't matter. Like, it's a huge massive galaxy far away.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you're telling me like there are sexless like planets, you know? Like, what does it matter? Like that shouldn't really be the focus. I do understand that like there are the other changes are things that bother me, not the Ki-Adi-Mundi kind of changes. Like, okay, they retconned him, and maybe it was an oversight, but like whatever. Like, they worked it so that he was alive during this. Like, everybody was waiting for Yoda to show up. Like, why is this such a huge surprise? We know that there are races in the Star Wars universe that can live hundreds of years, you know? So I don't know, man. Like, there's like wild things that people get all upset about. I just, I don't get it.
A lot of it just boils down to me. It's like a lot of them that are complaining about, oh, they're trying to just shove diversity in there, and I'm just like, it's Star Wars. It's always been diverse.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
And they'll just completely gloss over like all the alien races and stuff, and it's like, oh, so it's only diverse as long as all the humans are white.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
like,
fully
yeah.
agree with you there, because like as soon as the Force Awakens trailer came out and people saw Finn, a lot of people dropped the mask and went full on racist when
Yeah.
they saw Finn. And I still see a lot of that. So with the Acolyte, I've seen the first 2 episodes and I like what I've seen so far, but a lot of it has to do with Amandla Stenberg. So I know her because she was in Bodies, which is one of my favorite horror movies slash thrillers of like the last 5 years. I thought it was great. And she gives a very good performance in that film. And I think she's really good as Osha and May here. Also, the actor who plays Saul, I think does a really good job. And I'm interested to see, because there's a mystery going on, at least by episode 2, where things are going. So I'm interested in it. I didn't have any issue, like any glaring dialogue or anything. I do think, though, if that's the end of Carrie-Ann Moss, it's a waste. Because in the first episode, that's a really fun action sequence. Like, that was really interesting because it's not typical 2 Jedis. There's a lot going on there that was exciting and pretty neat. So that'll be a huge waste if that's the end of it. So
I'm pretty sure it is.
Not to spoil anything for you, Hoarder, but flashbacks are a thing. That's all I'll say.
okay, well that
Yeah.
makes more sense though then, because like they had to think like, oh, we had this big star for this first scene, because not everyone knows what this whole Acolyte story is going to be about. You know, we want people to watch that first episode for sure, because some shows will do that. They'll get a big name and they'll die at the end of the first episode. Big Sky did that, or yeah, I think it's Big Sky.
I can't wait to see what season 2 of The Last of Us is going to be like, being that Joel dies in the game in the first hour.
Really quickly, I'm worried about that. I'll say just that because now they're saying, hey, maybe it'll take us 4 seasons to get through the second game.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I just have to say, like, I just wish, like, because I think you're gonna talk about Blade at some point, maybe. Like,
indeed, yes.
And I'll segue. Let me. Listen. I do this, so I'm gonna help you segue into that, maybe.
Ooh.
Like I look at like Blade. Like, how hard is it to make a Blade movie? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, why is
you know what?
why
Yeah, you told me. Let's segue. Next
why-
topic.
why are we like making this so complicated? Like, it's Star Wars, okay? Like, pew pew each other, bzz, 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 each other. Like, let's not like get carried away here. It's not that complicated, okay?
Yeah.
And then we look at like Blade, like we're going through like 40 directors. It's vampires and he kills them. Just put them in like, you know, put him in like the Empire State Building. He's at the top. Everybody breaks out in Vampire, and he has to fight his way to the bottom.
Now, see, that's like Dread,
And-
except reverse.
Yeah,
It
like,
worked for Dread. Why
Dread,
not?
well, Dread kicked ass,
Like-
yeah.
like seriously, like let's not complicate things. It's Blade. He kills vampires. You know, like the last thing I heard was it was going to be like a 1920s era timepiece where he's fighting Lilith, and Lilith is trying to get his daughter's blood. Like,
But
what
see,
are
that
we
could have
doing
been cool
here?
if it's plenty of
Christ.
Blade, because apparently it wasn't plenty of Blade.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, apparently the first script, Blade was like the 4th most important character,
Yes.
and it was like this girl power movie of like all female baddies. Which, well, I don't care. Like, if we're gonna like have female characters, you know, do cool things, but like,
it's
don't
a Blade movie.
don't make a Blade movie, you
Yes.
know, and do that. You know,
Yeah.
Blade should be the star of his own goddamn movie. I'm sorry.
Or go ahead and do that. Get that movie out. Let's do another Blade movie. You know, don't have it push things back 5, 6, 7 years. At some point, they are going to lose Mahershala Ali, an Oscar-winning actor, which I thought was perfectly cast for Blade.
Yeah.
They're going to lose because they don't understand what would make a good Blade movie. Like, have it take place in New York. Have the Midnight Mission be part of it, okay? Have Moon Knight show up, but make Blade the main character.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's that difficult. Like, the idea of Blade being almost not used at all when the movie is called Blade would be completely insane.
It's also wild to me that like X-Men 97 literally just gave them the blueprint, like, for what to do. And like, I feel like they should be able to look at the fan reaction to X-Men 97. Granted, that's an animated show. I get it. But like, the fan reaction to that was through the roof. And you know
Yeah.
what they did? They made an X-Men show based on the X-Men show that everybody grew up with and the X-Men stories that everybody grew up with. Like, they didn't sit here and like try to reinvent the wheel, right? Like, there's almost nothing controversial except, I guess, Morph, which honestly, if we think about it, like what they did with Morph is the perfect way to do something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like, and honestly, you could probably make the argument that Mystique is the same way. Like, I just don't really, yeah, man. Why are they so afraid of the source material? Is it because they don't want to pay the writers that wrote it? Because like, I'll tell you this, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Donny Cates.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
One of my favorite writers.
One of mine, too.
And a lot of the stuff that you see a lot of the imagery you see in Marvel Spider-Man 2 is straight from Donny Cates' Venom stories. Like the
Yes.
wings and everything, literally his creation.
Yes.
Did not get a dime for
I
any
did
of
not know that. I thought he would have. I didn't know if Stegman would, but I was hoping Donnie would.
it. He got nothing.
Ryan Stegman, artist that did most of like the a lot of the King and Black stuff, a lot of the Null stuff, the wings and all that.
Yeah, I met them both together at New York Comic Con one year.
That's awesome.
But to answer your question of like, why do these people don't like work on the source material? Like, the best example I can give with this, and yes, I'm bringing it up to bash it one more time.
Halo?
That is the Halo TV series.
Yeah.
Like, so many directors out there, and I've been saying this for a long time now, like, if you want to put your own personal mark on something that, like, oh, he did this because you can tell by this, that, and the other, cool. Go do that. Don't do it with a licensed product.
So
Like, you can make an original story and do your own thing, but if you're using a licensed product, there are certain beats and cues that you need to pay homage to. You can still make it your own, but you do need to kind of follow a general guideline. And they just don't do that. And then they sit there and wonder why everyone hates it.
but if you do it with love and creativity, you don't even have to truly follow a guideline that close. Look at Logan.
Yeah.
Logan was incredible, and yes, it's true to a lot of elements of X-Men, but you could definitely, that director put a lot of himself and, like, you know, his ideas and things into that film. That's definitely the work of an auteur, and I think what you're seeing is a lot of these people that get these gigs are going the auteur route, and it's my baby, and I'm moving forward with it. And what you're seeing from Star Wars, X-Men, and all those movies, Marvel films, a lot of directors are being let go because of certain things like that at times.
So, yeah, I say we answered that question pretty quick.
High Ruler, real quick, Donny Cates.
Not that hard.
Oh, sorry.
He's not serious.
High Ruler, really quick. Donny Cates did the big popular Venom run starting in like 2018 through, I believe, 2022, and it was fantastic. But he's done a ton of other comics, but he's really known for Venom and the King in Black story arc.
Yeah.
Okay, this is actually something I wasn't aware of. So the Acolyte does not take place within the continuity of the Skywalker saga at all? Is this true?
I don't know.
I have no idea yet. I've only seen the 2 episodes.
Oh, okay. I mean, if it is its own separate thing, like Disney's favorite MacGuffin is multiverse now, so if it's its own thing, then fine, let it be its own thing. But, like, yeah, racists just need to stop being racist. That at the end of the day, that's all it just boils down to.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. What a concept. But all right.
If anybody deserved to have that nerd explained to him, it was High Roller. So I'm okay with it.
All right. So, The Boys, season 4. Speaking of things where you stray away from the source material, but it's still good, The Boys.
Yes.
Has driven far, far away from the source material.
Eric Kripke is a great showrunner, so that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. Say that again, sorry.
Oh, Eric Kripke is an excellent showrunner, so that's one of the reasons. That's why with the show Supernatural, the first, I believe it was 5 seasons were so great. That was under Eric Kripke.
Gotcha.
I'm glad I don't read the Boys comics because it's all new to me.
It's because I've seen highlights from the comics and this is one of the few situations where I actually like the show better than the book. The book, you kind of already hate most of these Vought people.
Yes, the book is incredibly nihilistic.
Yeah, the book would make you want to grab a pickaxe and go in them yourself. Garth
Ennis is a very nihilistic writer at times, and The Boys is incredibly nihilistic. Season 1 to me was too nihilistic, but then things died down with season 2 and everything else.
Really, you think so? Even with the introduction of Stormfront?
That was the only element that made it not nihilistic. So they introduce all these people you think are going to be great, and then there's the sexual assault rape scene in the first episode. Then there's the religious person who turns out to be terrible. It's like every person they introduce you is damn near a monster except Huey, and then the person you just mentioned.
Yeah,
Starlight.
I know
the only moral compass of the entire show just continues to be Mother's Milk. So,
yeah, I am notoriously not the biggest fan of The Boys. I understand what they're trying to do and everything, but I've always just found it just a little contrived and generic. Kind of like the same argument I have with Invincible. Like, it's just, I don't know. But
so that's actually what they're going for. It's
I
meant
understand
to be,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. But I couldn't get over that hump. And I feel like it's just a bit gratuitous. And there's
definitely, yeah.
Putting
So
it
Scarlett is
mildly,
writing.
way too much male genitalia. So this season though, it's clicking with me a little bit more.
This season so far has actually been pretty good. It's definitely doubled down on the shock value. That's for goddamn sure. Like, Jesus Christ.
And that's the thing that, like, I feel like a lot of people just gravitate towards that and Invincible because it is just so gratuitously violent, you know. And I get it, but like, I don't know.
Invincible, like, I do have to admit, like, I enjoy the story of that a hell of a lot more than just the shock value of it, because like you really start to see how much of a coming to age story it is, and putting that into a superhero moniker where like this dude could fold the world if he wanted to, and trying to I guess I look at it as a much more adult version of the inner struggle somebody like Superman would have.
Yes.
Like the greatest line ever uttered out of Superman is, "I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard."
I've only seen the first 2 episodes of Invincible, and I completely agree with you. That's what I thought of, like a Superman coming of age.
Is like a more vocal version of Superman's internal struggle, and that's why I've really started to enjoy it. The Boys, I like it. I won't even front because of shock value, and I am sitting impatiently waiting to see Homelander die. Not even gonna front. I want see that bastard dead.
Yeah. I'm intrigued with where they're going with this. I
too.
don't know the story, so but and listen, I understand that, like, that most nudity involves females, and you know, if you're into that, that's great. But I'm not really into the male genitalia. So, you know, especially the human centipede, not also my favorite.
That was an
I wasn't
insane
gonna
ass
bring it up.
scene.
I genuinely wasn't.
I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, so like, you know, I feel like they do it. I feel like they do it like purposefully.
But that's
like,
Venice. Do you remember his Punisher run? It's very, very gratuitous and very shocking all the way through.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just you know, hey, I guess sometimes you just gotta have a lot of dong on the screen. So
you'll be happy to know the orgy from, I believe it was the last season, that was in the comic. It might have been the 3rd season, but yeah.
I can tell you that I am not happy to know that. That does not help me at all, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, they're keeping close to the comics,
because that's when Soldier Boy and Homelander fought.
I mean, I do enjoy. I did. Soldier Boy enjoyed his character. You know, even though he is a little racist. A lot racist, but
hella racist.
Not as bad as Stormfront, though.
Yeah, well,
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway,
I will admit I watched the Stormfront beating on repeat for like a good 30 minutes because like that was just catharsis at work right there.
Yeah,
well, that's difficult for me because the actress is awesome, and she was in this great comedy series that, of course, now I forget the name of, but she was great in it.
Yeah, now on, she's just going to be super Nazi, unfortunately. But yeah, well, let's. Well, I don't know if he's going to be any more comfortable with the next topic either, because there's a lot of gratuitous nudity in this show too. So House of the Dragon has started back up. Now, there's only one episode so far. I believe episode 2 is literally airing as we record.
Yes.
When you sent me the itinerary, I made sure to watch episode 1.
My man, appreciate it. Are you up to date as well, Hoarder?
Oh yeah, because there's just that one episode. Yeah.
Excellent. Man, they really came out swinging with the
Yeah.
premiere of season 2. Like, I'm eagerly awaiting to see what's going to happen next.
Like, to me, with the first season, it was like the height of the level of the best stuff from the original Game of Thrones. So I was really impressed with the first season of House of the Dragon, and this was a very good premiere. Although I do admit it's kind of sucks waiting almost 2 years for another season.
But if the quality is good, I don't mind the wait. I got to be real.
So one issue I think Jay might have had this issue. Maybe you did too. There are a lot of characters and names and things that I had difficulty recalling. I watched it right when it first aired.
Yeah.
I remember the big plot points, right? But like certain things, I was like, oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. And then I think to myself, if this aired a year to a year and a half ago, then I would have probably remembered a lot more.
Yeah, that's why I'm always very, very happy, because Game of Thrones was always fantastic about it. Like, look, we know you haven't watched this in a while, so here's like a 10-minute recap.
Yeah, here's a recap.
And it's like, oh yeah, right, yeah, yeah, okay, we're up to speed now. Who's this again? And I'm expecting a lot more of that in season 2 as well. But yeah, like what's been some of your favorite moments so far? Jay, take it away.
I mean, they definitely left it on a wild cliffhanger, and obviously it turned out exactly how we thought it would. I thought this episode was a little slow, actually, in a way. I do think that they like had to kind of reel us back in a little bit, you know?
Yeah, a little world building.
Yeah. I don't know. I was not excited for it to come back, which is a shame because I loved Game of Thrones. You know, but this is interesting. I'm going to do a better job of keeping up with it, because I knew it was out and I just didn't, like, I wasn't motivated to watch it, but now I feel like I'm there.
Yeah, so. Like getting through that first episode again, like I feel like a lot of people just kind of had that situation of like,
I am struggling with the names though. Like Hoarder said, I can't.
Yes.
Like I visually know who they are, but like I can't like track who's supposed to be who.
Even better, some of them have names of characters that were in the original Game of Thrones, because it's, you know, like the second of their name, the third of their name, and all that. So that's hilarious too. Like Viserys, what? No.
Aegon? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was throwing me off a little bit. Wait, is one of these? Is he the Mad King?
That's what I've been trying to piece together in my head this whole time. Is like, is one of these turning into the Mad King?
Yes, one of these is going to be the I think it's Aegon, actually. Was it Aegon?
Which is the current one on the Iron Throne.
Yeah. So keep an eye on Littlefoot, the prequel to Littlefoot. Basically, the gentleman with the disability. He's going to be putting a lot of poison into the ear of that kid, and I think turning him into a monster. He very much reminds me of was it Littlefoot? Was that the name? I've got the name wrong, don't I? From the first series.
No, I think you got it right. Littlefinger.
Oh, okay. Littlefinger. Thank you.
Yeah, Lord Baelish.
That's exactly what he reminds me of.
I mean, I would not doubt it, to be perfectly honest, because I mean, let's be real. This series is full of fucking deceit. So yeah, I'm definitely expecting shit to hit the fan by the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm sad to know that is the Mad King though, because I always for some reason thought Matt Smith's character would end up being the Mad King.
Oh yeah, with getting such a big name actor like that and such an awesome performance from him, I was thinking.
But I knew his name didn't match up. But but also,
who was the one in folklore that like they referenced him when like Jon Snow and Daenerys hooked up, and it's like he loved her, she loved him, and I'm like, you're stooping your aunt. What are you doing? And you come to find out that like with the Targaryens, that's not necessarily as taboo.
Wasn't that Ned Stark's sister and one of the Targaryens?
I'm trying to remember because I remember seeing in that flashback it was a white-haired man. I was like, okay, that's a Targaryen. So, like, was it Rhaegar, something like that? That turns out, like, Jon Snow is a descendant of this guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's I know it was a Targaryen. I don't think it was. I think it was like the Mad King's like brother or something, and it was like Ned Stark's sister, and like Jon Snow is their, I guess, their bastard child that he raised as their own.
Yeah. So like
how,
go ahead, Hoarder.
how many dragons are there? Because they're like kind of giving them out willy nilly. Like there's one here, there's one there. They gave one to the Vale, I think. So how many are there?
I think this is supposed to be before the culling, so there should be like a lot of them.
There's about to be 2 more.
Yeah.
That's true.
It was the Mad King's. Yeah, so I am remembering it right. Yeah.
Okay.
God, I can't wait for Jon Snow to just be in Multiverses. God damn it. Like, I'm struggling to keep up with Multiverses now that I've missed some things.
It's like I've been watching the metrics, and I won't say nothing, but hearing things behind the scenes, that game is not doing well.
And it should. I don't know. I know
about Daffy Duck and Beetlejuice, and that's about it. Oh, not Evangeline. The vampire queen from Adventure Time. But
I know what you're talking about. Marceline.
Marceline, yes.
Marceline, okay.
She was in Lego Dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Still patiently waiting for Green Lantern. Just saying.
Yeah.
I know, like, I have a nice comfy seat. I know I'm going to be waiting a while. DC Comics are cowards. But, yeah. That's pretty much everything on the docket, unless anybody has something they want to add.
I'm very interested to see, I will say about this, how things are going to go down with the very ending of the episode. And because the episode's title is A Son for a Son. And with that particular son,
God,
yeah,
I want
to
say
get
something,
very
but I feel like I should avoid spoilers.
Yeah, things are going to get very, very interesting.
Oh, okay. I'm going to keep this as generic as I can. Didn't they kill the wrong person?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was
like,
so, yeah, they did.
Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's going to get wild.
Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't just kill them both. I don't understand why they didn't just kill all 3 of them.
At least be thorough.
Yeah. I don't know. I could go a million different directions with that one.
Well, it was like they had like goofballs doing like unprofessional people. Like, hey, you want to do this for me? Sure. Oh, whoops. You know.
It definitely weirded me out, like why he was bringing the dog, and then you were just kind of like, oh, that's why. Okay, never mind.
Oh, when he kicked that dog,
yeah,
I almost unsubscribed.
Yeah, I was.
The Game of Thrones series has really interesting, inciting incidents. If you notice, like at the end of the first episode, you have the young Stark noticed what was going on, and off the roof he goes, and then you have this where it's like, we accidentally killed the wrong person. It's very interesting, inciting incidents.
Listen, I don't care about that dumb kid, okay? But you kick that dog and it's over.
Rule number 1: you don't hurt the dog.
I mean, like, listen, Keanu's gonna show up.
Yeah.
in
the form this time of Matt Smith.
Well, you think that's bad? I thought it was going to be worse for the dog. So I thought they were bringing him, and I think didn't they have to bring him up a ladder?
Yeah.
I was worried they were bringing him up to be the equivalent of a canary in a mine. So I was worried there was something that they had the dog in front of them in case that something was going to happen to that dog. That's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
You know, that tracks. Yeah, that definitely tracks. All right. Apparently, High Ruler is just like pleading for this. Jay, is there anything you would like to talk about with Suicide Squad?
Absolutely not.
I'm looking forward to Mrs. Freeze, Mr. Freeze, whatever the character is. I'm looking forward to their traversal, and I'm really hoping they find some way to put some more story in these expansions, because it is the most threadbare of stories I've seen in any expansion or any type of season. There's more story, I kid you not, in a Diablo season which is like a through line and, a number of like bits of dialogue and things like that for a few hours than what they've been doing here. And it's, yes, very disappointing.
Listen, I just want my goddamn Clayface doll that I redeemed a code for over 2 weeks ago.
Ruler, you'll want to take that back though, because Jay mentioned if we want to bring up anything else, and I was going to quickly bring up the First Descendant. So you might want to take that back.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the First Descendant launches on July 2nd, and it's basically this bizarre mix of like Warframe meets Destiny, and then insane giant kaiju battles that are like these like raid-type fights, not an entire raid, but like a raid boss that you face off against. There's going to be 16 of those, apparently. So it's this huge explorable area, huge story, characters. Now, I am worried about the monetization, and we've already talked about that on this show because it's a free-to-play game, so I'm hoping it's not completely, utterly egregious. And also, Nexon has had some things in the past where you don't know what the support will be. Now, one cool thing about this game is it was made in-house. Mostly Nexon publishes. This is a game they've spent a lot of time, a lot of money on. I don't see them just dropping this quickly. When you start the game, you get to choose between 3 playable characters. Lepic, who's like someone that uses like explosives and grenades. You get a tank character you could choose called Ajax. And you get Viessa, who's like an ice-based mage that can debuff enemies. So I'm actually going to go with Viessa. I used her in one of the closed betas, I believe it was. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the game. I think it's going to be cool, but I am worried about the monetization. So
I'll get to it when I get to it. That's pretty much the best thing I can say about the First Descendant. Like, I'll download it, sure. I'll give it a big good old college try. But with me being a less than a month away from Evo, like even with the big Destiny train I've been on as of late, like you're gonna start seeing that train slow down pretty dramatically because like gotta get ready for a tournament. So Mortal Kombat Tekken time.
It's also a cross-play, cross-progression, and it is on Unreal 5.
I can tell he looks absolutely enthused.
No,
I'm looking forward to it.
I got to be honest. High Ruler made me remember that it's been almost 3 weeks, and WB support hasn't responded to me in 11 days. So I am now in this exact moment in time responding to the last email I got from WB support for not helping me.
Damn it, High Ruler. No.
They can't respond right now, Jay. They're too busy breaking Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah, because you don't know where they would have been shunted off to in the WB gaming sphere, right?
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild that like this is happening. Like, and the worst part is like this is the last one. So if I can just get this goddamn thing, I can get all the gold dolls and never worry about it again.
And which character is this one? Clayface?
Yeah.
That's a really good one, too. He looks neat.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I have a direct link into support, too, and I did not want to message him about it at all, so I was trying to take care of this one on my own.
Sure.
But yeah, it's wild. It's absolutely wild that it's they don't care.
Yeah, it's sad to me because I like to play the game. I think it's a fun game to play. But yeah, they do not know how to deliver story. It is the most absurd thing I've seen with something where I was really looking forward to the story in these updates.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before. It hurts because, I got to go to that event in LA and it was awesome. I loved it. The team seemed so passionate about the game. Like I really thought, like based on what we played, that like this was gonna do well. And then they had that like initial burst of positive feedback after it. It seemed like they had kind of gotten into the rhythm of things. And then the game just came out a broken mess and it never recovered. It's never I just like I tried to be understanding. I tried to like be reasonable, I held on too long, expecting them to do more. And now I just feel like I've got some egg on my face, and it sucks. I'll hold the L on that one though. You know, I didn't have it's not my fault, obviously, but like, you know, it sucks. I can't believe it came to that. And you know, on to the next one, I guess.
I'll definitely play the characters they put out for it, but like
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's really pulling me back, to be honest with you.
I don't think there's any saving the game at this point, you know?
Mm.
Like
If it makes
they're
you
not
feel any
even
better, I
like
feel the exact same way with Mortal Kombat 1 right now.
they're not even
I
putting out
genuinely
like
do.
costumes. But like listen,
know.
I'm gonna play it. Like, and like I hate that like High Ruler couldn't play Joker. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that not like what they've put out when it works. I feel like we're talking about Avengers all over again. But like when it works, I think it's fun. I think it's really good. It's really well made. But like there's no reason to log into the game like at all. Like they don't even put out costumes. Like that's how they were supposed to support themselves. Like they can't even put out the King Shark outfit that everybody's begging for. You know? They tricked people into buying the Joker. You know, it's just a bad look all around. And the crazy part is, I wish they did the live service thing on Gotham Knights instead of this, because Gotham Knights was set up perfectly for it. Perfectly.
I hate to say this, but something tells me that would have gone wrong too in some insane way.
I don't know that, like, all they had to do was episodes. You know, you've got this big old map. And like it was set up for the episodes. All right, we've got a new episode coming out. This is you know, the Riddler's episode, or it's Kite Man's episode. I don't know. And like you've got the city already there. You're just basically doing a couple levels inside buildings.
Yeah.
It was perfectly set up for it, but oh well.
It's as wild as that comparison is, even though like I have tried my damnedest to blot Gotham Knights from my mind. If I really had to go through and fine tooth comb it, yeah, Gotham Knights was the better game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I actually I like both games, but again, so let down by what I may not even get a finished story. If Suicide Squad, amazing traversal, fun shooting, but also just not enough game modes and stuff. You know, it's just pull me in. You know, give me a reason to come back to the game besides a new character to play, because a new character to play is going to excite me for a week or two. Don't get me wrong, I love Joker. He's awesome. But honestly, I just can't see constantly going back to play if not, you know, some really cool things or some story related things.
Yeah. But all right, that looks like that is our time for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and those of otherwise specified titles. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. I really appreciate you guys. And as always, before we go, shout outs to Obi, Clowns, Olivia Forjug, Ashley Page, Donk, Frame Rates, High Roller, Pra, Jayshockblast.
Don't you dare shout out High Ruler.
Meg, Paco Stevens. Hey, good to see you, Paulo. Regrez, Rodriguez, and Scorpy I2. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out. Jay, why don't you shout yourself out and let everybody know where they can find you?
I'm Jayshockblast everywhere.
Excellent.
Literally.
He's in your dreams. No.
I mean, he's in mine sometimes. But alrighty, I will see you backstage, sir. All right, another one in the books, bud.
Yeah, I think it was another excellent episode, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely had some really good conversations on this one. Once again, thank you, Jay, for coming out and hanging out with us.
Thank you, Jay.
I don't know what happened to Glimmering Harpy. She never responded, so apologies for that. Them's the break sometimes. Sometimes things just get in the way. But as always, thank you very much, Hoarder, for continuing to be my co-host, and let everybody know where they can find you.
Well, thank you very much. You can find me twitch.tv/HoarderGamer. This week, starting Tuesday, I'll be doing the 20th anniversary version of Beyond Good and Evil. Very much looking forward to that and seeing the improvements to it. And then also, of course, I do like Diablo and Destiny as well. And the First Descendant, July 2nd, I'll be doing that too. And don't forget Hoarders Comic Flex. That's going to be Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central. So definitely check that out. I finally got the episode for last week up yesterday. Had some scheduling issues, but that's finally available on the Hoarder Gamer YouTube channel.
Awesome. All right, buddy. I will see you backstage.
See ya. Bye-bye.
All right. And as always, if you're here, well, you already know where you can find me. So thank you everyone for watching, guys. Once again, I can never thank you guys enough. That's why I do it so often. We will be taking a short hiatus on the Primecast for about the next 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how you're looking at the calendar. That is because we are actually off schedule at the moment, and I want to get us back on schedule. Just for like personal scheduling reasons in real life and all that type of stuff. So no Primecast for the next 2 to 3 weeks. However, once we return, we're going to be ramping up into the time for Evo, and I'm going to be touching base with a couple people. I don't want to make it official just yet, but high possibility, because I've already exchanged emails with them and talked to them in person. They said they would love to do it. For the Evo episode of the Primecast, we will be bringing none other than the director of Evo himself, Rick the Hado, onto the Primecast so he can talk to us about Evo, kind of hype you guys up. If you're in the area, maybe you can come by the event and, say hi, go play a couple games, meet some new friends. It'll be a great time. But thank you again for another wonderful episode coming in and hanging out with us. And I will see you guys later on. Take care.